Hey, good morning, Garrett. This is a quick demo video for you for your Desert Wanderer. Install the Proffie, although you got this from Corbanth. I know that KR calls it the Desert Wanderer. I'm not quite sure what it's called over at Corbanth, but it is install the Proffie. It's a 2-button setup. So this small greebly right here will be your power button, and this larger one right behind it is going to be your auxiliary switch. All right. You've got a Carl Chen V4 Neopixel connector in there. I do have the emitter on here for the blade. It has this extended lip on it, so it gives you some more blade depth. I've got your other piece and your blade plug inside of your box. So simply you would just unscrew this and put the other one on. Before you use that blade plug though, I would go ahead and I'd put some felt on the underside of it or some electrical tape at the very least, just to make sure you don't make any contact with those pins that are in the emitter here and then accidentally turn it on. All right, so that's what I would do there. To get to your chassis, you just want to unscrew the pommel. The booster section unscrews, but you don't need to unscrew that. So if it ever does come unscrewed, I tried to hand tighten it pretty tight. If you ever do accidentally unscrew that, it's okay. Just put it back on. You don't need to take it off. All right, but we will come over here and take your pommel off. Again, I swapped out your static pommel piece with the one that's got the vented pieces in it for sound. All right, so if you ever wanted to unscrew this and put your solid one on for display purposes, you could do that. It is also inside of your box. All right, but when you take that pommel off, you'll see your speaker or your chassis piece sticking out. Pull it straight out. All right, just like this. What you've got here is your Proffie board over here. This is a snap fit down into the shelf. So you can lift it if you like, but you don't need to. You've got access to your SD card and your micro USB from right here. Just with a 90-degree data cable is how I always program these boards. All right, right in front of the board you have a kill switch. You do have a removable battery setup, and then you have a fully enclosed 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker. You and I were talking about that. You had actually requested one of these, and then I had told you these are pretty much exclusively what I use. If I have to go to a Smuggler's Outpost dark side every once in a while per request, I'll do that. But Smuggler's Outpost speakers are the only ones that I use. All right, and then you've got your switches here on the back. This is a removable chassis, obviously, but made possible. I use the Smuggler's Outpost Switch Pixel PCB set. This was a little bit of overkill in this particular Saber, but the reason I originally designed the chassis to use these is because, you know, some people like to program these LEDs separately, and this gives the ability to do that. On this particular build, we don't need to worry about that though. You will see a pin PCB. You won't see it very well though. Let me get my phone. There's a pin PCB inside of this Saber that stays in place. All right, if I can shine some light in there, you can see it right there. All right, so it's in its own chassis system and it never goes anywhere. All right, so we'll take this chassis, throw a battery in it. Please remember, spring side is the negative side of your battery, so don't put that in backwards. But we'll come over here and throw our battery in. Snaps right in place, and then come over here and flip this on. I do have Kyberphonics OB4 on this Saber. Let me know if you like that. We can just add the $10 to the cost of the install, and I will transfer that over to Jesse over at Kyberphonic. All right, come over here and flip the switch. Now, when you put this chassis in, you want to make sure that your switch section here is lined up with your two switches here. All right, so it looks like that basically. As you can see, a straight line from your two switches all the way over to this channel basically I have for the plungers. And if you line that up right, you can push it all the way in. And that's what you'll want to do. Push it all the way in. Then come over here, put your pommel on, and screw it down. All right, so we'll screw it down all the way, lock it down in. When the pommel is nice and locked in, it locks that chassis in place, and we can come over here and hit power. Now the Saber's nice and loud when this pommel is all inserted. You've got your LEDs firing up. Auxiliary for the big cog right here. did give you twist off as well. So we can turn on with this, right, and then just twist it and turns it off. If you want to play your soundtrack, it's a long press on the power when the saber's off. All right. And then another long press to turn that off. Just like that. All right. Let's throw a blade in. This is set up for a full-length diameter or a full-length blade, but I'm going to use my test blade, and this takes a 1-inch diameter blade. All right. This is my test blade from Space Windu, and I really enjoy using it. So you have 3 different blade retention screws located at even intervals all around this piece of the emitter. I'm just going to use one for the demo. But when you lock that blade in, and you get a nice shine in your blade. Good flash on flash. Blaster bolt deflects by tapping the auxiliary. And gave you this rotoscope blade. If you want blade lockup, what you'll need to do is hold down the auxiliary switch and hit the saber. You can see it right here when the saber is vertical. But when you go horizontal with it, it moves closer to the middle of the blade. The saber's loud. Now, of course, it just has the one sound font on it. There is a copy of the config file that I use on your SD card, so you can have that to build off of if you like. But if you had multiple fonts and you want to go to the next one, just tap auxiliary.
Obiwan Kenobi.
And you'll go to your next font. And we'll twist it off and break it back down. All right. Just because there's 3 blade retentions and I don't remember which one I used. There it is. All right. So when we're done, we'll come back over here and just unscrew our pummel, not the booster section. Try not to drop that. Again, take out the chassis like this. I'll show you that the kill switch works. We'll just hit power from here. All right, you can hear it, and then we could turn it off from this kill switch, and it kills everything like it should. All right, when you want to take the battery out, do it from the positive side by this PCB, and you should be able to pop it out with your finger. All right, just like that. And that, sir, is basically your Desert Wanderer from Corbanth. Let me know if you have any questions. And, of course, it's Sunday today. So what I'll do is I'll package this up and get it out in the mail to you first thing Monday morning. Thanks, man.